Hey guys, welcome back to another Come With Me video. Today we're gonna go and discover the remake of the remake of the remake. Just kidding. It's just a remake of Black Christmas, which I actually really love the original film and I did rewatch it recently. I've seen it about 3 times, I'd say, in total. And every time I'm really shocked at how intense the original is. The original Black Christmas is a Canadian slasher from 1974, and it kind of went down in history because of how intense it is. It's also the film that started the caller within the house situation, which we see as a trope almost in horror movies nowadays. The classic one, the phone calls that this guy makes are out of this world. And to know that this kind of language was in a film in the 70s is insane. So there was a remake of Black Christmas in 2006. It has a 4.6 on IMDb currently. I have not seen this remake, and I think that's probably a good thing because then I can go into this one just thinking about the original and not, just completely scrapping that middle one. But the biggest issue with this version is the fact that the trailer has given away almost everything. I did do a whole rant about trailers and a little bit about histories of trailers and the best trailers and the worst trailers, especially within horror movies. It's linked up here if you want to go check it out. But I talk about Black Christmas in that. I don't show the trailer because it is so bad. So many people have commented on this trailer this year saying how it gives everything away. It reveals the killer. It reveals everything. So, I mean, my expectations are very low, but right now, this remake, the 2019 remake of Black Christmas, is sitting at a 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb, but that is only with 64 reviews. So I will be one of the first people to review this, which is really exciting because it's coming out same day in Australia as in America. So I won't be spoiling any of this film because I know some of you guys will be watching this to gauge whether you should go see it this weekend. With that being said, the movie is about a bunch of girls who live in a house. And as I said, it's a slasher. There is calls coming from within the house and they're getting killed off one by one. Pretty straightforward story. It also stars Imogen Poots, who I really liked in Green Room, and she was also in 28 Weeks Later. And I'm excited to see her. I think she's the main character in this film, so that should be interesting. And the director for this film is Sophia Takel. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I haven't really seen any of her work except for she did a segment in the VHS film, the first one. So should be interesting. I don't have high hopes. I'm going in with really low expectations. I'm sorry, I can't change that. I feel like everything's been revealed, but I'll let you know if there is a reason you should watch it and if it's worth your time this weekend. Let's go, guys. I bet you weren't expecting this. Usually I finish these videos in my car, but it is 40 degrees outside, which is 104 Fahrenheit. So we're doing it inside. And I thought this actually would work better if I set the scene with my Christmas tree because it is Black Christmas. Black Christmas 2019, I have to say, as soon as this film started, I was petrified to talk about it. This sucks so bad because I hate when people talk about this all the time, that they don't like when horror movies get political. I don't mind it. I just don't like to be the person talking about it because a review is already opinion-based, let alone bringing in political and social views. And this movie was like 15% horror, I'd say, and the rest was drama, genre, I would say. And it was about like feminism and rape culture, and it was very intense. My issue with this film isn't because of what it is. I think it's really great to highlight social issues in horror movies, and it's what horror movies have always been doing, even if you don't realize it. And that's the key point here, is that this film shoves things so down your throat that it makes it very uncomfortable to watch, and it's not doing anything, it's not teaching any lessons, it's just attack. an attack on your senses, and not a good one. But also, it's quite damaging because it tries to tear down certain ideas and concepts, especially within horror movies, concepts and stereotypes, but it really plays into all of the stereotypes. Okay, rewind. Black Christmas is about a sorority house in America, and trigger warning here, this is gonna contain sexual assault in this review, which I was not expecting. One of the girls, the main girl in the movie, Riley, she has been sexually assaulted, and they don't really take revenge, but they, you know, try and get back at the people who have done this, committed this crime to her, and it's about like the social climate within this college because of that event and other events. They bring a lot of other issues into play in this, and it is overall very much men versus women, which sucks. It absolutely sucks. And it is brought up in this film, you know, how can you say such bad things about men, but men can't say stuff about women? So they do talk about these points, but the issue is nothing is clear, and they're just kind of throwing out everything, and they're just stirring up everybody. Like, it's just a huge, this movie's gonna piss people off. It's just there to stir people up, and it's not really proving any point. And there was a point they could have proved. They should have gone about it a little bit more subtle. Sometimes less is more, and a little bit more like straight on with one thing instead of presenting so many different arguments that what is going on. But issues in this film definitely have to do with the fact that they're trying to break down all these stereotypes, and they also have like stereotypes or tropes within horror movies that they're trying to break down. They do that fake scare where you think you're gonna see something and then nothing's there. They talk about a lot, you know, about strong women and kick-ass women, which in horror movies, there are kick-ass women. This is where we belong, you know? Final Girl, it's a horror movie thing. But what really grated me the wrong way is that they have one of the characters in this film who is a dumb girl, and they just portray her. She doesn't know what to say. She's asking people what to say. She makes a joke about not knowing how to cook ham, and she's meant to be the comic relief, but it's so crazy to me that a movie that's meant to be all about building up women and women fighting back, they have this stereotypical dumb girl in it. Like, it was not really, it was a little bit tone deaf, if you get what I'm saying. I was not a fan of it. I have to remind myself that this is a remake because it doesn't seem like that. It has nothing to do with the original Black Christmas, and they have replaced, this isn't really a spoiler, they have replaced the calls with DM, like text messages, which, I mean, modernize it, whatever. But the main thing that was so scary about the original one was the calls. And back then they used to have, you know, proper telephones, so you know, they had to be in the house when it happened, and they could have really played on that. The movie does play a little bit of homage to the original in some of the ways things happen, but other than the setting being Christmas time and it being in a sorority house, nothing's the same. I did really like the way that Imogen Poots played Riley. I think she was a standout performance in this film, and I saw it with my friend Scott, and we both said at the end, oh my God, she was so amazing, and she held the film together. I think the strongest parts of this film was when nothing was said, because nothing needed to be said because of the portrayal of the emotion. They casted her so well, and just how uncomfortable she felt in certain situations. Any sexual assault victim can really relate to how she feels in situations, but I think she did a really good job of portraying those feelings and showing it in her character. But yeah, I mean, the story is a bit crazy, but she did a really good job of carrying the story through. And my friend and I, Scott, was saying without her, we don't think that the film would have done, I mean, the film wasn't great, as you can probably tell, but I don't think that the film would have even been watchable. Where I feel like the film was extremely watchable because of her portrayal of the character. She was amazing. As I said before, there were a lot of tropes in this film, and I don't think it's quite a trope, but they had a lot of setups in this film where they like focused on an item and you just knew it was gonna come back, you know, at the end of the film, or something was gonna happen, and the setups seem very obvious in this film. And let me tell you, everything is very obvious. Although, I will say you don't see everything in the trailer. There is a lot more to it. As I said, it's like 15% horror, so you probably see all the horror stuff in the trailer, but you don't see the storyline. So I will give it to them that they didn't give away everything, but what they did give away was pretty poorly done anyway. I don't want to talk too much about what happens towards the end of the film and the reveal and all that kind of stuff, but let me tell you, it goes downhill on a steady slope, and it keeps going till it's like a 180-degree angle, because I tell you what, that made no sense, and I was not for it. It didn't make any sense, this film. The ending, I was not down with. it is a nosedive for me because of how they tried to explain the whole situation. It's just messy. I know I've been saying messy a lot, but I've seen a lot of messy films, and this is one. Technically, this film looks beautiful, and I mean, the grading's nice, it's very slick, it's very modern, but I did feel like one aspect was very much off, and that was the audio. There was a moment where the girls were walking down and they were having a conversation between themselves, and then it was meant to show like a POV of someone watching them from a building up high through the window, but the audio didn't change, so you could still hear the girls talking clearly, and then when the camera was inside this window, you could still hear them talking clearly, when usually you would hear like a muffled version. And I know it's so small, but it really just made me think about the audio, and then I was just always, it just felt like a little bit off. ADR, a lot of films record over outside noise to make it sound a lot nicer, and I felt like it was almost too polished, where it didn't feel like it had any natural sounds in the background, and it was just almost too crisp, where it felt like it was, you know, the sound was coming from a studio. So I felt like that was a little bit off-putting, but that is definitely nitpicking, and probably the least distracting aspect of the whole film. I felt like the film was very distracting because all I could think about was what message it was trying to portray, and how it was contradicting itself the whole time. It was talking about, you know, feminist rights, but then it was putting men against women, and the characters were not helping any of the situation. I can see why this one's getting bad reviews already. And I went in wanting to like it. I really did. I went in with low expectations, hoping it would change, as I always do when I go in with low expectations. I don't want to hate films. I hate putting out rants. I can't tell you guys how much I actually really don't like it. It hurts my feelings. It really does, because I know how hard people work on films, and as some people in the comments love to say, who am I to say any of this and give my opinion? But this one for me is not it. And sometimes I just need to warn you guys, because that's why I'm here. And I really hope that you guys understand that for this one. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10 because, Lord, it went downhill real fast. But this isn't the only rant you guys can hear today. I also just did a video on The Fanatic, which is the John Travolta, Limp Bizkit, and Devon Sawa film. That was a dumpster fire. Welcome to my life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be back for another Come With Me in a few days for something a little bit more sinister. In fact, it might have a clown. A horror movie with a clown, guys, that I'm gonna see at the movies. Can you guess what it is? But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one, and stay spooky. Bye.